You know, I did a double take too with her. You know what I'm saying? That was huge. What's up everybody, it is Royal J and I am back with another Insecure Review Season 2, Episode 5. Hella shook. So Issa is driving and she's stuck in traffic. And then she realizes that she's running out of gas, so she has to go to the gas station. So she goes to the gas station and she's pumping. And I could relate to this because sometimes, you know, when you go to the gas station, you be pumping your gas and you keep like pumping the thing, I don't know, it's like the gas pump. And you just keep pumping it, hoping that more will come out of it. You know, you put $10 and then you hope that maybe a few more dollars will come out, but then, you know, sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't. So after that, she goes to this house, and at first, I didn't even know whose house it was. But she's knocking, and she was like, oh, you know, I have a package for you. And he was just like, well, leave it on the door. And she was like, well, you have to sign for it. It's a package for your package. And he was like, I have a gun. So she was like, it's Issa. He was joking around with her, so he opened the door, and they start kissing and hugging. And so Molly is at work, and she's talking to the guy. I don't know his name on the show. Because I hate to keep referring to him as the guy from Get Out, but the guy from Get Out. And Molly is talking, and he asks her, at first it was joking around and talking, but he asks her how she let them know that she knows that the white guy makes more money than she does. And she was like, she can't say anything. And, you know, he tells her, like, the firm that she works for is not the only good one, and that she should leave and go to another city and work for a real team. And she was like, she don't want to leave and let all that time that she's worked go to waste. So she doesn't want to leave, she wants to stay. So apparently she's fine with not being paid as much as the white guy or as more, but she don't want to leave, she wants to stay. So we know Molly is very hard-headed. You know, she's very set in her ways. So he makes a joke about her bringing him Roscoe's, and he was like, you know, I'm slim thick, I gotta eat, you know, I have a pastor body. So they're laughing and joking, and the chemistry is pretty good between them two. So I don't know, maybe I could be reaching, but maybe possibly something could go, you know, something could happen between them two, I don't know. Issa is getting ready to leave Daniel's house from being there, and I'm sure they probably had sex and everything, but we didn't get to see it. And she's getting ready to leave the house. She's putting on her clothes, and he putting on his clothes, and Molly and Issa are doing these flowers for Molly's parents, renewing their vows. Her parents are renewing their vows, and she's doing some flowers for them and fixing up the flowers, her and Issa. So Issa tells her, you know, I'm going to be staying at the Motel C, and that's French for broke bitch. Broke as fuck. Bitch. So while they are doing that, Daniel is texting Issa. And Molly asks her like, oh, y'all cool and all that stuff. And she was like, yeah, everything cool. You know, we friends. That's fucking. She tells Molly, you know, she have niggas in rotation. She has Daniel. She has the neighbor, which is Eddie. And then she has this new guy that is 46 years old named Nico, a Latino. And Molly was like, oh, you going on a date with a Latino? And she was like, see, bitch. So Lawrence is at jury duty. While he's sitting there waiting to be called, he's on Kelly's page, which is Issa's best friend. He's scrolling through her page, and then he sees the picture from when they went to Kiss and Grind and then went to the restaurant afterwards. He see the picture when they was in the restaurant, and then he zoomed in and you see Issa and you see Daniel in the background, like talking, mingling or whatever. And he's just looking at the picture with so much anger. So you can tell he butthurt. Because, you know, he see this is the guy that Issa cheated on him with. But he'll be alright. But while he was on Kelly's page, he wasn't on her page. He went through his timeline and saw Kelly was doing the Grand Reaper Pepper Challenge. So he was like, what is wrong with her? And then that's when he went on her page and saw the picture of them at the restaurant. While he's in the courtroom, searching and going through Daniel's Facebook page. So he's basically stalking Daniel, everybody's social media like Issa was doing. So it kind of was like the tables were turning, because, you know, Issa was going through his profile and Tasha's profile and stuff. So now he's going through Daniel's profile. So you see how the tables is kind of turning a little bit. So Issa is at work, and after they have their little meeting, Frida goes to go get some coffee. And Issa goes in there to go and talk to, but before that you can tell Frida had a little attitude because Issa made a joke and Frida was upset and mad and stuff. So after the meeting she went in there to kind of talk to Frida. And Frida had an attitude and was just mad. So Frida is still mad that they're not working with any Latino students. So she tells Issa that she still feels a little weird that they're working with gangs. And Issa was like, it's a lot of racist gangs out there and stuff. So she says that she feels like Issa is only trying to help herself. So Issa is telling her like, black people really can't be racist, and Frida disagrees. She says yes they can, because racism is about manipulating a situation and all of that stuff, which is true, but I feel like Frida should do a little bit more homework on why racism is really created, you know what I'm saying? Because our ancestors went through a lot, and still to this day we deal with a lot with the police brutality and everything else. Issa was telling her like, I'm sure it feels good to have the privilege that you can choose when to be mad about certain things. With that scene, I was a little bit agitated. So I'm glad the conversation was brought up, you know what I'm saying? Because it's very interesting and it should be discussed, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people are not educated. It's still some things that I'm learning. So after that, we see we see Molly is taking the flowers out. She's at her parents' house and she's taking the flowers out and putting them inside. So Dro comes and he's helping her with the flowers, and they have the whole conversation about what happened at Kiss and Grind. And she just basically tells him, like, talking about that whole night, and she was like, you're married and we can't do that and stuff. So she's still kind of pushing him away. She don't want to do it, but you could tell in the back of her mind she really want to go there with him. So she was like, we were drunk that night and stuff, and he was like, he wasn't drunk, he was kind of sober. And he tells her, we still cool and stuff, so everything is alright. So Issa's on her date with Nico, and it's very strange and weird because she's fantasizing about taking his clothes off and kissing on him at the bar and stuff, and she meets up with him to have drinks, so they're talking about DC and Marvel, and I'm just like, oh, well, this is a mighty cool date, So while she's, she gets into her phases where she's talking to herself in her head, and she's just like, you good with your hands, or you good with your dick, and just saying weird, crazy stuff. And I feel like a lot of people, me for one, and a lot of other people can really kind of relate to Issa when it comes to that weirdness at certain times, especially when you're nervous, you do weird and say weird stuff. So while she's on a date, Daniel was texting her, asking her to come through, and she was like she can't because something came up. But she didn't tell him that she's on a date. She just told him something came up. So she's drinking and having fun with Nico. And then after, when getting ready to leave and stuff, she was just like, he said, oh man, it's midnight. And she was like, the time is going by so fast. So she wants to hang out with him a little bit more, but he says, he has to go and catch a flight in the morning, so he can't hang out with her. But they could do this some other time. Issa is at work, and they have to pick partners for their program. So they are doing this thing where they're trying to figure out, like, what's the kids' problems, like, is this something going on at home, or is this something someone influenced them? Issa was like, stop assuming and just ask them what's wrong. They have to choose partners. Issa goes to Frida, but Frida doesn't want to be Issa's partner, so Frida goes over to the other girl, the lazy one. All of them are lazy, but the one that's always laying back in her chair. And Issa has no partner. She's alone. She's by herself. So she's used to her and Frida always teaming up together. Now she has to go and be stuck with this other lazy one, Sarah. And Sarah, you can tell she didn't want to work with Issa, but she has no choice because everybody has partnered up. It's the day of Molly's parents' vow renewal. She brings Lionel. Lionel is there. Dro comes up, and, all three of them are talking. And they asking each other questions and stuff, and Molly was like, me and him grew up together. And Dro was like, yeah, my parents live across the street. I'm a marketing consultant, so you could tell she really don't like the fact that he's a marketing consultant. Because she was like, oh yeah, you're a marketing consultant. Lawrence is with Derek at the bar. Issa's best friend, Tiffany, husband. So they're at the bar and they're talking, and he's asking Derek, like, do you guys still talk about Issa and Daniel? And he was like, you know, ever since the whole Tasha thing, they had to stop talking about them, because every time they talk about them, Derek and Tiffany always end up choosing sides, and then they always end up arguing and fighting, so it gets serious. So they had to stop talking about them. So Lawrence is saying that he cannot believe that Issa is still seeing this dude, and you know, he feel like that she's been playing him all along, and how women are slick about hiding their secrets and stuff like that. And it's just like, okay, which this part made me so happy when Derek actually stopped him in his tracks, and Derek was like, you know, it's not all of Issa's fault, because you was unemployed for 2 years, you wasn't working, you wasn't doing nothing, she was basically taking care of you. And he was just like, I couldn't understand why she went out and got attracted to someone who was actually out there doing it. So you could tell he's mad with Derek, like, what? Like, what is you talking about? For one, you was not working. You weren't doing anything. Every time she leave the house, you was in the same spot. Every time she came home, you was in the same spot. You wasn't helping her financially. You wasn't doing anything. So, of course, she's going to find some type of attraction to someone who is actually doing something and making moves. So that's telling him, he was just like, you know, how would you, you know, how do you know if Tiffany isn't out there doing stuff too? And it's like, he was like, Derek was like, no, don't do it, don't do it. Could have told him. I feel like she should have told him and kind of let it go, and probably their relationship would have been a little bit better. They could have been friends instead of her doing it behind his back. So she was wrong for doing that. But I don't know. I mean, now you want to feel some type of way because she's seeing this guy, but you've been seeing, you went back to your ex, which is Tasha, and then you just had a threesome with 2 white girls. Like, I don't see why you were frustrated. But Molly is talking to her brother, and they're talking about Lionel, and she's saying how she likes him, and you know, he has a good job, he wants to settle down, and she just wanted to be like her mom and dad. You know what I'm saying? How their relationship was so perfect, and they never had no problem. So her brother was like, you know, all relationships isn't gonna be like mom and dad. And she was like, you're just saying that because you married that stripper. He was like, no, I love Kim, even though she trapped me, but I love Kim. So while they talking, he was like, if you don't like that nigga, then why you still with him? And then she was getting ready to say something, but then their other brother called him, so he had to leave and go see what the brother wanted. So now she's sitting there thinking and kind of putting 2 and 2 together a little bit. Like, she really don't like Lionel, but I feel like she's forcing it because I think she really wants to be with Dro. I think so. So Issa's she goes in the bathroom and she calls this guy that I guess she grew up with. I don't remember seeing him before. I probably did and just don't remember. But she asked him, you know, do you remember that little white girl who would always say that they had a sex scene at the end of Aladdin? And she was like, you remember I went back and searched in and didn't see it. So the guy was like, yeah, why are we talking about Aladdin and white girls? So she was like, because she's having a similar situation at work with her coworker, where the coworker thinks she's right and all of this stuff. So the guy was like, so think she's right about Issa leaving all the Latino students out. So it was like, why are you leaving all the Latino students out? And she was like, I never said that I was leaving all the Latino students out. And he was like, you just said it. And she did say it. And she was like, no, I didn't. So he was like, you can never admit when you're wrong. So she just cuss him out and then hang up on him. She gets a Snapchat from Eddie, her neighbor. And he was just like, what you doing? And she was like, nothing, bored, you know, hella bored. And he was like, how bored are you? Send me a video. So she's getting ready to send him a video of her boobs. And her coworker walks in. And she was like, oh, it's something about cancer. The lady was like, gross. So I'm like, girl, if you don't mind your business, you like mind your damn business. You could have just act like you didn't see nothing, close the door and leave. You just talking about gross. I'm sure you did nastier things than that, but anyways. So Molly is talking to her aunts, which is a trip. We all have those aunts who are crazy as hell and funny too. But she's talking to the lady, and the lady was like, oh, I see you, well, her aunt, which is Kiki. And she was like, oh, I see you brung you a dark and lovely. And she was like, if I was 20 years younger. Other aunt was like, you know, today is about Derek and Carol. And she was like, oh, well, I didn't think they was going to last, especially after all that stuff that he did to my sister. So then the aunt's just like, come on, let's go, let's go. So she's pushing them and pushing them, was like, let's go. She was like, Kiki, what are you doing? So that wasn't meant for Molly to hear. So Molly was just like, what? So that leaves Molly confused. Issa's at the stoplight. Issa's at the stoplight and she's texting someone named Potential Bae because that's what the number was saved under. So she was texting him saying, you know, I like the profile picture. And he was like, you know, I could send you another one. And the car behind, the light turns green and the car behind her is honking their horn for her to go. And she was like, where you gotta be? So she gets a text of the next picture. And the picture was very explicit. Very explicit. And when she opens it and looks at it, she crashes her car and she was like, oh, and then she just airbag out, front of the car all messed up. And I'm just like, I could see why she got in the accident. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not something you should send to somebody while they're on the road, you know, because they could potentially crash and things could happen because you'd be shocked that this person sent it to you, especially when you didn't think they were going to send it to you. And it's just like, and I'm shocked and then I'm laughing because I didn't really expect for them to show something like that on the show. Yeah, they do show stuff like that, but I didn't expect it. So when I saw it, I'm just like, whoa, you know what I'm saying? Like, what the hell is this? It was big, I'm saying. I feel like if that happened, I probably would have crashed too, you know. Probably would have been dead, I don't know. That was very surprising to see. I didn't expect to see it. You know, I did a double take too with her, you know what I'm saying? That was huge. But anyways, the car that was blowing for her to go turns around and drives off. And she crashed the car and I'm just like, oh man. So yeah, it was funny. I was cracking up laughing at that part because the way she said, oh, like as soon as it popped up and she saw it, she would crash. It was like, oh, so it was so funny to me. And when the car just drove off and left, it was too much. But after, you know, she calls Daniel and she's telling Daniel how she got into an accident. And he was like, you know, I'm gonna come and get you. She was like, no, don't worry, I'm about to get in the tow truck. You know, she's saying how the driver has a ponytail. So he was like, no, stop playing, I'm gonna come and get you. So she tells Daniel where she is and he comes. They're hugging and she's like, you know, we're cool, right? And he was like, yeah, what you mean? And she was like, you know, we both are seeing other people and stuff. So he says yeah awkwardly as if he's not seeing anyone else, but he goes along with it. And she was just like, you know, yeah, we seeing other people and stuff. He was like, yeah, it's cool, it's cool. So she opens up about seeing other people and everything is fine, they cool, they get in the car, they leave. So come to find out what Aunt Kiki was talking about was that Molly's mom, which is Carol, well, Molly's dad, which is Derek, cheated on Molly's mom a long time ago. So Molly never knew about this. She's pissed off, she's mad, she's angry, she's flipping out and cursing like, fuck all this shit, fuck this wedding, fuck this flowers and stuff, you know. She just really looked at her parents as that inspirational relationship that she wanted to be in, you know what I'm saying? Like she wanted to have, I mean. So a lot of times when you look at certain couples, you think that everything is so perfect and you want that. And then you find out that it's not all unicorns and rainbows and gummy bears. Like it's not perfect. So, you know, she's very pissed. So her mom comes out and was like, you know, Molly, lower your voice. And she was like, no, fuck that. Like, why do you cheat? Why did you cheat on mom? And he was like, oh, Molly. And she was like, it was a long time ago. And her brother was like, you know, Dad, mom forgave him for what he did. You know, they left it alone. And her dad was like, Molly, that was a long time ago. And she was like, no, fuck that. You cheated on mom. And so she storms out. And she drops her keys. Dro was like, you know, I got it. And he goes over to help her. And he's driving her home. So Lionel stays. And I'm just like, okay, Lionel was your date. And you and Lionel are cool, so why are you leaving Lionel and why is Lionel not trying to leave with you? And why he's not driving you home? Dro says he's going to handle it. Lionel was just like, yeah, that's good. So they leave, he drives her home. She's act like she's going inside, and then she grabs his arm, because he was like, he was probably going to catch an Uber or Lyft or whatever. So she grabs his arm, and then they go inside, and the next thing you know, they're having sex. I knew this was going to happen because of the way she was acting. Like, when she was talking to Molly and Kelly about it, it was like she wanted to, but then she was trying not to. So I knew it was going to eventually happen, but I didn't know it was going to happen this soon. You know, but when I saw that he meant to take her home, or he volunteered to take her home, I was like, oh boy, it don't seem good. So before they did that, when they were in the car, she was just saying how she thought her parents had the perfect relationship and she really wanted a relationship like theirs. And he was like, you know, our relationship's not perfect and things happens. And he was saying some other stuff, and she felt like he was defending her dad. He was like, I'm not defending your dad, I'm just saying, you know. I don't know, the sex scenes in this show are very intense. It's like, where's the compassion? Like, they just be just like ramming it up, like rough, biting, hard kissing, and grabbing. It's a lot, but I enjoy watching it. I was looking at this last scene, and I'm just like, ooh, you know, it was a lot going on. And then next thing you know, he's going down and kissing her, and I'm just like, you know, you kind of put your thing in there, and you know, but you know, that ain't none of my business. I enjoyed it, okay? So, yeah, that was my review on the show. I loved it. It was an amazing episode. Better than last week. That was my review. Make sure that you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Follow all of my social media down below in the description box. Make sure you click the bell to be notified when I upload. Share the video. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would really admire and love if Issa and the whole cast get to see the video and get a good little laugh, a little kiki out of it. So, you know, that'll make me feel good inside, child. So anyways, yeah, share the video and like, comment, and, you know, yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.